Be Frank with Me is the 2016 debut novel by Julia Claiborne Johnson. The story centers around Alice, a young woman sent to Los Angeles to assist reclusive literary legend Mimi Banning as she works on her long-awaited second novel. But Alice quickly discovers her role extends far beyond administrative tasks. She's also expected to care for Mimi's eccentric and unpredictable son, Frank, launching her into an unexpected journey of emotional discovery and challenge. Johnson has said that Frank's character was inspired in part by Boo Radley's implied autism and by her own experiences raising children. At the start of the novel, Alice has finally landed a stable job with benefits at a publishing house in New York. Her boss, Isaac Vargas, suddenly sends her on a mission to California. She must assist the famously private Mimi Banning, the author of the classic bestseller Pitched. After falling on hard times financially, Mimi must write another novel, but caring for her son Frank leaves her with little time. Alice, though not a fan of Pitched, unlike her mother who adored it, accepts the assignment. Arriving at Mimi's glass-walled Bel Air home, Alice is met with suspicion. Mimi threatens to call the police before Alice manages to convince her she's the assistant Vargas promised. Once inside, Alice sees that every wall is draped with curtains, giving the transparent house a paradoxical sense of privacy. The women attempt small talk, but Mimi proves prickly and distant, forcing Alice to carry the conversation. Alice meets 9-year-old Frank. Highly verbal and unusually dressed in vintage suits, Frank resembles a character from a 1930s film. He's brilliant, erratic, and bound by a rigid set of personal rules. Alice may hold Frank's hand, but she must never initiate affection. She must never touch his beloved piano. She soon discovers that Frank sleepwalks and sometimes carries a knife when he does. When Alice informs Vargas, he instructs her to begin documenting everything. As Alice begins to bond with Frank, she proposes they leave the house. Both Mimi and Frank warn against it. Frank demands she prove she won't get lost, but eventually agrees. On their outing, Alice learns of a mysterious piano teacher named Xander who visits occasionally. She doubts Xander exists until Frank takes her to a garage loft stuffed with hundreds of postcards, proof of his elusive mentor. Alice dubs it the Barbie Dream House. Later, Frank senses something is wrong and rushes upstairs, accidentally knocking his mother into a glass door. Following the incident, Mimi begins taking Frank to therapy. As Mimi immerses herself in her novel, Alice and Frank grow closer, doing many of the activities he once did with his mother. On a museum visit, Frank becomes convinced that Xander is there. Alice plays along, but Xander never appears. That night, however, Alice returns to find him asleep in her bed, handsome, enigmatic, and very real. Frank resumes piano lessons with Xander, but he also has to return to school. On his first day, he lies down in a hallway to protest, blocking students from passing. He has no real friends, and the school administration is frustrated by his behavior. Alice is hopeful when she hears about a girl named Fiona, whom Frank claims as a friend. Meanwhile, Alice begins writing her own book based on her time with Mimi and Frank. As Alice and Xander grow closer and begin an affair, he opens up about his and Mimi's shared past. Mimi's iconic first novel, he reveals, was inspired by her brother's suicide. Xander, too, carries grief. He accidentally killed his sister in a car crash. Eventually, it becomes clear that Fiona is not Frank's friend, but his bully. The school principal blames Mimi, criticizing her for allowing Frank's theatrical wardrobe. Mimi buys Frank more conventional clothes, but the bullying continues. Alice discovers he's been carrying a homemade weapon for self-defense. With school feeling increasingly unsafe, Alice and Frank begin skipping regularly. On Frank's birthday, things spiral. He accidentally sets fire to the Barbie Dream House and much of the actual house with fireworks. Everyone survives, but Mimi is hospitalized. While she recovers, Alice and Isaac try to salvage her manuscript, fearing it was lost in the fire. Then Mimi mysteriously vanishes from the hospital. Isaac flies in from New York to help, and Frank, ever observant, reveals he saved the manuscript, handing over a satchel of pages and notebooks. Eventually, Isaac and Alice track down Mimi. With her work safe and her son in better hands, Alice finishes her own book and returns to New York, leaving behind the chaos, Frank and Xander. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.